What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. This is going to be a live alert, and keep in mind, since we are live, anything can happen. We'll be right back with a warning for Illinois and Midwest residents in the middle of the country. Thank you guys for coming. All right, so we have some news here and some different stories that actually I did not expect right off the bat. So I wanted to bring this to you because I believe that they are putting this all over the place, and yet not a lot of the mainstreams are talking about this. Now, a few are, just a couple, and then a couple of the independents are. Like DUTCHSINSE is actually talking about the 100-foot wide crack that just opened up in California. When you search it, the first thing you find is him, but you don't really find anything else. Okay, first off, a fissure opening in California, that would be kind of a big deal, I would think, but whatever. I mean, 100 feet, that's multiple stories. What is that? 10 stories, a 10-story building sideways, a crack? I mean, you're talking about a very, very tiny Grand Canyon. This is about the New Madrid. So they are warning against a big one, but not where you would think. In fact, this is aimed towards the New Madrid Fault. And now emergency management services have now warned on multiple platforms just today and yesterday over the last 2.5 days. It says New Madrid Fault could create a sizable earthquake. Mississippi could be affected. Now, they talk about the previous earthquake. It says Mississippi was devastated by an earthquake that registered a 7.5 on the Richter scale. The Mississippi River flowed backwards, and Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee was created when a void caused the disaster filled up with water. It says, quote, it was felt up the eastern seaboard into New York City, Philadelphia, even up to Canada. So it was just a huge earthquake, said retired Mississippi Emergency Management Agency Director Robert Latham. It says scientists have said that the risk of another earthquake on the New Madrid Fault is the same size, is about 7 to 10% over the next 50 years. But they say, quote, the likelihood of an earthquake on the New Madrid of a 6.0 is likely 40 to 50%, Latham said. Now, mind you, they say this, but check this out. They are literally blasting out things. Some folks emailed and texted us that they got cell phone alerts and drill alerts saying that it was a real event, and then, of course, that was taken back. So it was not an earthquake. It was just a false alert, which it seems since Hawaii we've had a whole lot of. This was the Facebook post by Illinois Emergency Management Agency 12 hours ago, or about 13 hours ago. It says the recent earthquakes in Southern California serve as a stark reminder that earthquakes can happen anywhere in the world and at any time of day. Teach your family and coworkers the importance of learning how to drop, cover, and hold. Now, that to some folks, especially on the West Coast or anywhere that's had earthquakes, seems like common sense. But like the story I've told about when I was in freshman year when we had our 6.7 at the, it was called the Nisqually earthquake, our teacher from Texas, who was in charge of an entire class of freshmen, literally ran out the door, ran out the main entrance to the school, and past the windows. He did not tell us to get under a desk. He didn't tell us anything. Obviously, it was his first year in Seattle and didn't know what to do. So, but on the other hand, this isn't necessarily always the best plan. I would suggest reading up on what the best protection is against earthquakes. Here's the thing. People call this, fear porn or whatever else. Get this. Earthquakes are survivable, and even the biggest ones, if you are smart, you can survive. So this is the thing. If people are prepared and people are ready at the first sign of shaking, knowing what to do, then they can totally and utterly survive any kind of situation. But the problem is when it starts happening, people wait. In fact, their body people just freeze. And this has been wrote in thousands and thousands of witness testimony, because people that have never trained, they don't know what to do, and they sit there and they freeze. When you're 20 seconds into an earthquake, it's going to be a lot harder to get to the door, get outside, get away from electricity, get away from electrical lines. Even if you're outside, you think you're safe, you might not be if you're by electrical boxes or any kind of dangerous items that could fall on you. If you're in an unreinforced masonry building, once it goes past 20, 40, 60, then you're in the 7.0 range. If it goes past 2-3 minutes, then you know you are not only in something like an 8, but if you're in the West Coast, you have a tsunami on its way as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do to prepare yourself, and a lot of them are free and totally available on the internet. You can literally go and prepare yourself. Watch as many videos as you can on YouTube. It is a free service. As many people that put this service down, there are a million different helpful things out there. There are specialists in every single corner of every single niche that will go over these things. So prepare yourself. For how many cat videos or whatever videos that we end up watching, wasting time, one of the reasons I got off of Facebook is because you end up going through 10 different videos of just random things. It's like, a cat popping its head out of a bag, or a giraffe poking its head in a car. These are all funny, but they are a complete waste of time when that same 10 minutes, even 5 minutes, can be spent preparing. Now, I'm not saying to not look at the funny videos, but I am saying if you're spending half an hour doing funny videos, take 5 minutes of that and prepare yourself. Learn, because if you are mentally prepared for what is coming, and trust me, these things are going to happen. We live on Earth. It doesn't live on us. It is Mother Earth, and it is uncontrollable and most of all unpredictable. So people can actually prepare for these kind of things. The triangle theory that, you might be able to hide under a bookcase because it's in a triangle. It's one of the strongest structures. People have survived that way. You have to surveil your surroundings and know your exits and things like that. That is a very, very strong thing to do. Illinois authorities ask people to be prepared after 7.0 earthquake shakes California. This is the new Madrid seismic zone. Now, all of this movement over on the West Coast, some say, has actually caused some disturbances over on the new Madrid. We had earthquakes in Texas. We had earthquakes in Oklahoma. This is actually, this is something that people need to pay attention to, but yet, they'll cover it for one day for the main thing, and then they'll just drop it in the mainstream. So it says this map of the New Madrid and Wabash Valley seismic zone shows earthquakes as circles. Red circles indicate earthquakes that occurred from 1974 to 2002, with magnitudes larger than 2.5 located using modern instruments. It says green circles denote earthquakes that occurred prior to 1974. Larger earthquakes are represented by larger circles. So this is obviously, you've got several, but you don't have as many as you do in certain places like California. They're used to the small tremors. They're used to these small things. When you're from Texas or when you're from Missouri, Kentucky, Indiana, you don't get them as often. So you have to prepare yourself, especially if you're in this area where you're not going to be ready for it. You are not going to just, buy muscle memory, think about what you're going to do, where you're going to go. It gets much more complicated when you have children, especially small children or elderly. What are you going to do in those situations? Are you even going to bother getting shoes on, or are you going to run out the door? Are you going to go to the sliding glass door knowing that it could crash and cut people? There's all sorts of things to think about, even in your own home, whether you're in a house or an apartment or an RV. It doesn't matter. You should be prepared. It says the Illinois Emergency Management Agency is asking people to be prepared for earthquakes. They say that a 7.0 magnitude quake that shook California would have a devastating impact on the state. Illinois is flanked on its western and eastern borders by two active seismic zones, the New Madrid and the Wabash Valley Seismic Zone. The New Madrid Fault Zone is very active. In 1811 and 1812, the area in southern Missouri was hit by an earthquake that registered 7.5 on the Richter scale. It was felt all the way up New York, all the way up to Canada. Again, that is the one that turned the Mississippi River backwards. You're talking about jets of water propelled from the ground. Their primitive, electricity, their systems, their telegraphs poles, everything went down. I mean, it was really, really big. And a 7.5 is, hundreds, I want to say at least 100 times smaller than a 9.0. But 7.5 is, what is it? It goes up exponentially. So 7.0 was at least 10 times stronger than a 6.4. You're talking about 20 times stronger than what happened in California. It says WLOX TV reports the risk of another earthquake on the New Madrid Fault, the same size as 70% over the next 50 years. A scientist tells them that the likelihood of an earthquake, again, is 50%. So 1 out of 2 is not the greatest. This is, again, that California quake that has shaken all this stuff. We had a 5.4 off of the coast of Oregon. We had a 6.2 off of Vancouver. So you've got the Cascadia Subduction zone obviously active. You had at least 6 5+ earthquakes. I want to say at least 6, possibly more, off of the Cascadia Subduction zone, actually at the middle of that. Then you had on the lower end the California. Then you had, of course, all over the world, you had India just had a humongous earthquake. Alaska, I mean, you're talking, there are several things going on right now. And now you've got action in Texas, Oklahoma, and people are looking at the New Madrid. And they sent out a false alert. So everybody should keep their eyes open. There was, let's see here, the 100-foot wide fissure that opened up. I want to see if I can find this here. By the way, if you guys want to get any of the articles that I show here, like always, we are going to load them on. I don't know, there was a technical issue earlier. At least in a few hours or by morning, you should have all of the articles linked up on Marfoogle News. If you click on any of the videos, in fact, if you go to this thumbnail, you will actually be able to go to the website and you can click on a video, go down to show discussions, and then say for this one, this was our video on Marfoogle TV, the other channel. If you haven't seen that, we do a live 2 hour plus live call-in show where we go over all the current news and give you a chance to state your opinion. This one, last night, we talked about the 3,000 earthquakes in 3 days, which, by the way, is now way over that. But down below, you can see we actually place every single article that we talk about. We never take anything out of context. We take the real information and give you access to it. So if you want to look at this, especially this episode from last night on Marfoogle TV, we had a ton of earthquake information there as well. Now, I wanted to find this. I will pull it up. I want to send you DUTCHSINSE way. He actually covered the 100-foot crack in Southern California. In fact, this is funny. If you look this up, foot fissure in California. Very surprised that. So they are talking about Yellowstone. They're talking about all sorts of other things. In fact, DUTCHSINSE is the first video that pops up. I'm not going to play his video because I'm respectful of other creators, but I will show you. If you guys are not subscribed to him, I firmly, after so many times over the last couple years, seeing him say this is going to happen, then this, then this, then this, and it happens. after hearing actual witness testimony of people saying that he saved their lives, I am a believer. And you know, it took me a long time of watching him to fully 100% say that DUTCHSINSE is legit. People can argue with me, that's fine. Either way, we do need to be paying attention to this, and at least he is really good at tracking these and covering all of the latest earthquakes. We have already linked all of the different earthquake tracking apps. Other than that, you guys need to prepare. We are an independent news outlet. Now we are trying to expand. If you guys do want to support us, you of course can actually help yourself. EMP Shield is actually contracted by the government to harden our grid after T-Man, the commander-in-chief, DT, signed that bill. EMP Shield is the one that they are working with. This is the world's first and only military-tested EMP protection device for your entire home, RV, generator, or any other device that. And by the way, this can actually stop and protect you 100% guaranteed against lightning and against electromagnetic pulses, CME, so coronal mass ejection, and all forms of other power surges. So this is literally how they are preparing their military bases. If an EMP hits the United States, they are going to be business as usual. You can do the same thing. EMP Shield will save lives. If you can imagine your car starts when no one else's is, this can actually have an E1, E2, or E3. They tested it up to 43 times before they just gave up. This thing can literally handle multiple EMPs, CMEs, everything. This is an innovation. This is something that, you know, didn't exist years ago. So if you want to help support the channel and get $50 off plus an extra 10% off, you can use the promo code MARF and support us growing and expanding this operation. I appreciate you guys. I'm praying for everybody in the Midwest. I hope that that doesn't happen. And again, the point is not to scare people. The point is to let people know that they are going on multiple platforms and telling people to prepare, just like they did in California. And what's funny is 2 days before the California, there were actual articles and emergency management saying the same thing after a smaller 4.0. Kind of weird. So either way, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP if you want to check them out. And again, we are still running the contest with EMP Shield. I firmly 100% believe in that company. Again, they are tested by Keystone. That can literally stop a EMP or a CME. All right, you guys, I just wanted to bring you that real quick. I am not doing a normal show. Obviously, it's Monday. It is my day off, but I wanted to make sure that people knew about this. So thank you guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
You want to know what's going on? What's really going on when it happens? Go to MarFoogleNews.com and get Marfoogle alerts along with a Discord invitation where you can find your local state group and get together with the Foogle Fam. You'll find fast friends where you'll share prep and intel, and there's even special groups for former and current military. But don't try and steal the valor of those who have really served. It won't go well for you. The Marfoogle Fam is waiting for you.